to Explore.
I'm Explorer Jane.
And I'm Explorer Molly.
And today we're going to be learning about bluebirds.
Here at Kelly Creek Nature Preserve, we have multiple bluebird houses that are monitored regularly by Jim Higgins.
Let's go talk to Jim Higgins and learn more about these bluebirds.
That sounds great. I know he's around here somewhere.
Come on, Kinni Explorers, let's go find him.
Here's Jim.
Hello.
Hi, Jim.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Good. How's your day?
Wonderful so far. The sun's shining, the breeze is cool. It's really a nice day to be out here.
It's great. What do you think, Kinni Explorers? How does this day look? So Jim, we were hoping that you could tell us more about bluebirds. We're so curious.
Okay, well, I'm out here checking the Bluebird Trail, which is a series of houses throughout the preserve. And we're winding down the nesting season, so I'm just going to check these houses. And what I do is I open them up. And now I have these fasteners, which I can open up. And now this house is empty, which means last week when the birds fledged out of here, which means they hatched and left the nest, I cleaned it out. And now there's no birds building a nest in here again, so it's empty. And then I have my clipboard, which I keep track of how many eggs are laid, how many babies are hatched, and how many grow up and leave the nest. And I turn that all information in to the Bluebird Restoration Association of Wisconsin. They tally it, and last year I think we tallied up almost 15,000 bluebirds hatched in the state of Wisconsin and fledged out.
Wow.
So that's pretty impressive.
That's amazing, Jim. Can you tell us more about why it's so important to do this?
Well, bluebirds are a cavity nester, which means that they are a grassland bird, which they like grassland, but they're a cavity nester, which means they don't build their nest in a tree like most birds. They have to have a cavity or a hole in a tree or a fence post. We provide houses like this, which is a cavity with a hole that they can go in naturally. And it just helps them out. It gives them a place to build their nest and raise their young, and they come back every year. So that's what we try to do.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you so much for telling us about them. Can Explorer Jane and I take a look inside?
Sure.
Can you see that, Explorers?
Almost got his feathers. They're almost ready to leave, which I'm thinking within this coming week, sometime by the weekend, they should be out and looking for their own meals rather than having mom and dad feed them.
Jim, can you tell the Explorers and Explorer Jane and I how long it takes a baby bird from an egg to fledge the nest?
Sure. Once mom lays her eggs, it takes about 12 days to 14 days for them to hatch. Then they're really tiny little babies. And then they feed them all day, constantly. They're constantly bringing little bugs and insects in. And then another 12 to 14 days by the time they grow and get their feathers to where they're old enough to come out of the house and then fly off and start on their own.
Kinni Explorers, the bluebirds are growing up and growing big just like you are. Jim, where's their mom right now?
Well, she's probably sitting up in one of these trees. What she does is she goes up and she watches the nest constantly, but she's also on the lookout for finding bugs and insects to feed her babies.
Jim, why are places like Kelly Creek Nature Preserve so important to bluebirds?
Well, it's so important because the wide open spaces, the grassland, it gives places for the birds to raise their young, find their food, they get the water that they need, and that also brings in other insects, your butterflies and your bumblebees and your honeybees and your mason bees, which pollinate everything. Because all these flowers around here wouldn't be here if we didn't have the pollinator insects. And so it's a big biodiversity that it helps everybody have a home and find their food and live here in the summertime. And then the birds come here because it's like an open buffet. They can get their food that they need to raise their young, and away they go.
Oh, that's so great. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Well, thanks for teaching us all about the bluebirds. We had a lot of fun looking at their nests, and it was so cool to see those babies.
Finally see them. They're going to be gone here in the next couple of days because they got their feathers, and it won't be long and they'll be testing those wings, and they're flying down south for the winter.
If I was a baby bluebird, I would want to live in that cozy nest too.
It keeps you dry, it keeps the rain out of you and the cold winds, so it's a perfect place for bluebirds.
All right, well, we'll let you continue checking the other nest boxes here at Kelly Preserve, and we'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for coming. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the outdoors.
Explorer Jane, that was so much fun
about where and how they nest here at Kelly Preserve. And I also love learning about how prairies and grasslands like this are so important to them.
That's so true. It was so fun to take a sneak peek into what a nest might look like, or what their space is where they raise their babies. It's really fun too that Jim comes and checks on them often to understand the population and how the species is doing.
Yeah, Jim is so knowledgeable about bluebirds. I love talking with him today. Kinni Explorers, maybe you can get outside and see some bluebirds in your own backyard.
And Kinni Explorers,
Keep exploring.